All right, this is BS with Joe.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Brad.
Okay, so you followed what happened in Baton Rouge at all?
I have a little bit refreshed my memory because we did talk a little bit.
So, I think it was I started hearing about it, I think about a year ago, when the citizens of Baton Rouge, Baton Rouge is a very blue city.
Yes.
Okay, very democratic.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pocket of white conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There was a movement, and actually it was started by the Democrats to segregate out the white conservatives.
Right. I remember it was like changing the city lines or something like that.
Well, St. George is going to become its own city now.
St. George versus Baton Rouge.
Right. And the vote came out, and it actually was voted on, and I think they won by 10 points. It was actually fairly close.
Yeah, close race.
Yeah, it wasn't that crazy. But
for votes, yeah.
The most interesting thing to me is 2 weeks ago, this very blue Baton Rouge voted out their longtime mayor, who was a black woman, and they voted in a right-wing Christian Catholic man. Yes.
Wow.
And when he's giving his acceptance speech, he's holding the rosary in his hand.
Wow.
He could not be more right-wing.
Right.
Very, very conservative man, and he blew her out of the water in that election. So we now have a white, right-wing, religious man as the mayor of Baton Rouge.
Well, I don't really consider this like a black or white thing. I think of this as more of a...
It's Republican-Democrat.
It's Republican-Democrat. I actually think it's more of an individual who's God-fearing versus an individual who's like, I don't care about God. I'm going to do what I want to do, and possibly crime is one of those things that they're going to allow.
The former mayor was rather woke.
So she thought, okay, this individual's doing crime because he can't afford food versus him wanting to go work hard or try to get an education.
Right.
And
so let's feel bad for them. That's not going to fly anymore.
No. And this is a good example because now you have this
so now you see why I want to talk about Baton Rouge.
yeah, you have a very religious mayor now.
Yeah.
And the thing is, somebody who's religious is also very giving.
Right.
They're willing to forgive anybody for their past trespasses, to give that life up, to follow a life of prosperity for others.
To a point.
And that's where I think that line with wokeism is, because this individual, so with a lot of people with wokeism and extreme progressive, they believe this individual's born this way and they're always going to be that way. So they're always going to commit crime.
True.
So what are you going to do? Wall up a city and put them in that crime? That's a prison.
Right.
It's just a large
Are you
prison.
talking about Chicago?
But the thing is, it's not going to allow that individual to change their ways.
Right.
It goes back to the whole thing where if you give an individual fish, they're going to come back and want that fish every day.
Exactly.
You
teach them how to fish.
teach them how to fish.
Yes.
They're going to be able to feed themselves.
Yeah. And I fully agree with that. I mean, it's the same thing with the prison system. We're not doing anything at all to rehabilitate these criminals. All we're doing is putting them in an environment that actually teaches them more about how to be a criminal.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Davon Crawford, this is an individual who shot 5 people in North Carolina.
Okay.
He was only sentenced 20 to 36 months.
Shooting 5 people?
For shooting 5 people. Isn't that a mass shooting?
When you said
Isn't
20,
that a terrorist
you said
act?
20 to 36, I thought you were going to say years.
No. 20 to 36 months. And also, and a part of that sentence, which he's already served, 350 days in jail. And that's going to commute onto that monthly sentence.
So take 12 months off of it.
Yes. So he's almost done.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's that whole wokeism. This individual did this thing because they were born that way.
So what are we doing to correct it? What are we doing to give him an opportunity to change?
They're not. And the thing is, I believe that prisons should rehabilitate.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they're not. They're just making more criminals or saying, hey, you could get away with less time. We need to find a way to rehabilitate these individuals. That's what prisons were intentionally designed for. And find a way for them to come back into society.
Right. That's not what prisons were originally designed for.
Right.
Prisons originally were designed to just get rid of them.
Just get rid of them. But yeah, still, this is an individual shot, 5 individuals, and is almost back out in the streets.
What did they charge him with? Manslaughter? Second-degree murder?
I don't know exactly what the charges were. I didn't write that down in my notes.
Accidental discharge of a firearm?
We're joking about that, but there's a lot of people, because there's a lot of new gun owners, and they don't understand how that could possibly happen. But always treat your firearms as if they're loaded.
Always.
But yeah, that going back to that whole Baton Rouge thing, and then you got this individual in New York City that was drunk and on K2 on a subway car, lights a woman on fire.
Yes. Yeah.
29-year-old woman.
And people just stood around and watched.
And he was fanning the flames.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, allegedly. No, there's video of him doing this.
Yeah, there's nothing allegedly about
There's no allegedly. The cops arrest him there on scene.
So...
And this is an illegal immigrant, too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that and the bus driver that got into a shootout, basically, with a passenger in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching a lot of bus driver incidents on YouTube with bus drivers getting drinks thrown at them and punched around the glass, and it's just stuff like that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Mm-hmm. It's just that there seems to be a shift in morality from people just aren't going to church.
Yeah,
I was raised in a Catholic family. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't consider myself Catholic anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, if you ask me my religion, they'll tell you I'm a recovering Catholic.
Well, Catholic, almost all religions, most religions are based off of a one God figure.
Right.
And your Jewish, Catholic, Christian, and Muslim all believe in the same God.
Sure.
They all believe a little differently on the God, but
Muslims would argue that their God is not the same God, but
at
least Sharia would.
Yeah, but the thing is, with God, you want to be in His kingdom, and in order to get into that kingdom, you have to do good things. Yeah. There's a few religions that say, "Oh, you got to kill this individual to get into this kingdom," or you can kill this individual; it would help you get into this kingdom. We're not going to talk about that.
But even Taoism, Neo-Taoism, Buddhism, they all have a moral compass. Mm-hmm. The Far Eastern religions from China from ages ago, there's a moral compass. This is right, this is wrong.
And I think our country has lost their moral compass. And I think our country's trying to get that moral compass back. Because you have a lot of individuals who are in bureaucratic offices and are in states of power.
Well, just like we talked about last time, it's not the government that has to change.
It's the people.
It's not the government that's going to correct the moral compass of the country.
No. Well, it is. I believe. See, I kind of differ on that. I actually believe it is the people, but it's the people
It's the people. It's not the government.
Right. The people are going to change their ways, and then hopefully elect somebody into office that is moral and is not willing to thieve people and go after certain individuals because of they believe that they're horrible people.
Well, all right. So let's talk about why is the left so dead set on they can't allow Trump to be inaugurated?
Well, a lot of it I see. And
They just can't accept lose.
They can't accept the lose, and I think a lot of it goes back to a lot of bureaucrats. So if you look at some of the bureaucrats that are in office, it goes back to the Clintons. I'm kind of staunch on the Clintons.
It goes back further.
Yeah, but I go as far back as the Clintons because those are the individuals that are in office or in these positions currently. Okay. Now these positions were created before the Clintons, but the Clintons put a lot of these individuals in place, and also did Obama. Mm-hmm. And these individuals who are in these positions, and the reason why I'm kind of going back to the Clintons is because of the whole Hillary Clinton emails and things with Benghazi and things like that. Like, she had information that shouldn't even have been allowed outside of government facilities, and it was in her server at her house.
Right.
There's been FBI whistleblowers contesting to this fact.
But Trump's not going to go after her because it's not good for the country, in his opinion.
Right. He's not going to go after her, but what he should focus his focus on is getting rid of those individuals in those seats of power that allowed this to happen.
Well, that's what he's exactly doing.
I hope he does that, and I hope he finds individuals.
It's not going to be easy.
No. And I hope he finds individuals who are going to root this all out, like Kash Patel.
Oh, yeah, it's the unelected bureaucrats that are spoiling our democracy.
Well, they're not just spoiling our democracy, they're robbing our democracy.
Yeah.
You look at, they create all these different positions, and they tell their political partners who are in Congress, hey, you need to pass a bill for this, you need to pass a bill for that, you need to grow this, we need to grow that.
Okay, and before you jump on me, yes, I know it's not a democracy. I'm aware.
Yes. But we and that's why we need to get those, either eliminate a lot of those positions, because they're not even helping American people. They're assisting the government.
Right.
The government is there to assist the people, not to create an agency to assist the government. Exactly. It should be there to help the people.
And that just creates more and more spending.
Yeah, because they're thieves.
Yeah.
They have to get this, they have to get that. We need this, we need that. And a lot of it is individuals who, there's a lot of individuals who are wanting communism because of a lot of this, because they're saying communism.
Well, yeah, you've got all the people that don't like capitalism, and
now
they're somewhat Marxist.
And the reason why I believe a lot of these Marxists are looking this way is because of all these different agencies that are so corrupt and creating so much spending.
And I honestly believe that a lot of these people are their focus is on the wrong thing. They're going after corporations, which, okay, I understand. No, it's not good that the CEO of United Healthcare was shot. No, it's not. But if all of a sudden all these other CEOs of major corporations and insurance companies are hiring security and deleting their LinkedIn accounts and hiding, let's think about why you have to hide.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are you doing wrong in your life that you need to run away and hide?
Well, you were saying but that's the thing. It's the people going after the corporations.
Right.
And the corporations have used these three-letter agencies to protect them. Like we were talking about in our last episode about food and the FDA.
So it's all right, but the focus is in the wrong place, is what I'm saying.
Right. These agencies are protecting companies and corporations, not protecting the people. And the corporations are giving kickbacks to the government.
What is the the average yearly expenditures on lobbyists?
I couldn't tell you that, but I know it's
Got to
probably
be in the billions.
it's got to be in the billions. And
That needs to get under control.
well, that needs to get under control. The thing is with lobbyism, it was originally created to create the EPA.
Right.
Because a lot of people were saying, oh, people are dying from forever chemicals from DuPont being implemented into the groundwater, just being poured into the groundwater. And
The Aaron Brockovich thing.
right, and you're right, that is horrible.
Yeah. Wait, that wasn't DuPont.
Well, no, but DuPont has done it. That was Blackwater's DuPont.
Yeah.
The Aaron Brockovich is, I think, like
PG&E.
yeah, PG&E. Now, and these organizations were developed to originally help the American people, and they did. They went after these individuals hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
But then the corporations were like, "Oh, well, we got money. We could just pay for these individuals. Actually, we're not even going to pay for these three-letter agencies. We're going to pay their fines and fees. But what we're going to do is we're going to help elect this congressman and this senator to then go and have, because then they got control of the purse strings for spending for the EPA, and they're going to pass bills to say, oh, we're going to double your size, and instead of having somebody hired and put into your position that's going to be for the people, it's going to be somebody that's groomed from the companies.
Right. Yeah. You wanted me to remind you to bring up Crenshaw.
Dan Crenshaw and so the last bill, this huge $1,500 or not $100, but $1,500-page bill that was
The spending budget.
the annual spending budget, which had a ton of pork in it. Huge. Dan Crenshaw was all about it. Let's vote yes for it, and a lot of congressmen were for it.
Yeah,
But a lot more left-leaning are for it because they know what's in it, and they know because they probably wrote a lot of stuff that's in it. But
Right.
then you have individuals like Dan Crenshaw supporting it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why is he supporting it? He's supposed to be like cutting spending and reducing spending in government and all this other stuff.
Probably because people that donated to his campaign have pork in it.
Yep. And he realizes that the people aren't going to vote him into office. He has to spend his way to get himself voted into office.
Right.
He has to have a big enough coffer for when election time comes, he can outspend his opponent.
Right. Well, because congressmen and House of Representatives and senators and House leaders do not really campaign. They put up signs. They might do a TV commercial, but they don't really campaign. They don't want you to know where they stand. They don't want you to know what they believe in.
And if they do a campaign run, they're going to pay for an individual who's going to smear the other individual or cover up things that they have done.
Right.
That they know that the voters don't want to see.
Right.
Or they want to see, but they don't want them to see it to say vote against them.
And representatives that do put it out there and have opinions that they set out, this is what I stand for, like Matt Gaetz, for example, get attacked.
Yep. Massey and Chip Roy, they're under fire from Trump because when they went from that 1,500 page to like 120 page spending bill, they voted against it still. Now here's the reason why I'm giving them kudos. They told their constituents, we're not going to pass any spending bills. Okay. They want the government to shut down.
I'm okay with it.
And I'm okay with it too. And here's the thing. All these individuals that are working, they're going to still get paid.
Yeah.
And individuals who aren't working are probably even going to get back pay whenever it gets started again.
Right.
But what they're doing is they're trying to send a message, quit spending all this money. Because when...
Well, I think that going from 1,500 pages down to 120, that really did send a message that the pork has to stop.
It does. It did wind up a pass. I don't know if it passed on its third iteration or its second iteration.
I think it was the third.
third, yeah. When it was even cut even more, which is good. And that's why I'm giving those guys shout outs.
Yeah.
And they stood up against Trump. And everybody's like, oh, you got to follow Trump. No, we have individuals in Congress that are good.
Yeah.
And I want them to continue. I want individuals like that in Congress. They're looking out for their people.
Mm-hmm.
And they should.
Yeah. Well, Chip Roy got attacked over it.
Yeah, he got attacked for it. And Elon's even saying he's going to spend a ton of money on his opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets primaried.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not against that either, because I honestly don't think somebody should be serving a ton of terms in Congress. But if
Trump has said that he wants to push towards term limits for Congress,
and they gotta,
we'll see if it happens.
because
they're never going to vote for it themselves.
And the Dan Crenshaw was originally an upstanding congressman. That's how he got into office.
Right.
And now all of a sudden he's changed.
Well, yeah, he has.
And that's where, like, I think too much power breeds, or too much power corrupts. Absolutely.
Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I was looking to say. Is there anything else you want to talk about on this?
No, I think that'll do for this one.
I got one more thing.
Okay, talk.
So, like, the last segment we talked about the ATF and good guy with a gun, and good guys with guns are getting attacked by the ATF and things like that.
Even without guns. Just
And you're seeing a lot of things going on. Like we were talking about the illegal who set a woman on fire.
Right.
We need good guys to not be afraid to try to stop individuals like that. And be like Daniel Penny. I mean,
that's the name I was thinking too.
Yeah, Daniel Penny. He did a good thing, and he suffered from it.
He did.
And I know he would do it again.
You know, the police refused to do CPR on that man because they were afraid they would get diseases.
Yeah.
That's why he died.
That's why he died. And
I don't blame them.
I don't blame them either. But we need good people to do good things.
Yeah.
Stop the evil. Now,
how do we get rid of the fentanyl and the ketamine and?
Well, that's just. I honestly believe that's where we need to. Individuals have to do it themselves. They have to find something to focus on. I suggest religion.
Or at least a higher power.
A higher power or something, yeah. Even if it's a family or friend member, to help them. And I know that's hard because I have family members who have substance abuse issues.
So do I.
And hell, I have a substance abuse issue with feeding myself. But you have to eat. I mean, we can't starve. Well, I mean, you can starve, but you shouldn't starve. Right. And with that, it's you don't want to enable somebody to continue with that because, and this is where I believe a lot of the far left are a lot like children.
They are like children.
They want all this. They don't want to suffer the consequences of this, and they are enraged when they don't get their way, like Trump getting into office.
In the next episode, I'm going to tell you a story about when I first started getting interested in politics.
Okay. But, do good things and don't do evil things. And that's another thing, because when things are starting to go and get hard, which I believe they're going to get hard, there's a lot of economists saying things that there's a crash coming.
Yeah.
But
they've been saying that for 5 years.
They've been saying that for 5 years. But if it does get hard, don't do evil and don't become a vigilante, but stop evil things. And that has to start with yourself.
Don't be the person out there pulling your phone out to record the bad thing that's happening.
Yeah, don't be that individual.
There was a. Do you remember the Lynx bus, the Arctic that burned on I-4?
Yes.
The driver of that bus
Uh-huh.
got everybody off the bus, and instead of calling dispatch to let them know that the bus was on fire,
He
posted
recorded
it on Facebook.
Oh. He's not getting in trouble for that.
He was fired. She was fired.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But yeah, and you know, with hard times coming, or possibly coming, prepare yourself mentally to not do evil things if you can prevent it, because that's only going to make things harder for every individual.
right.
And so, you know, if you see something, do something about it if you can in a good way, but don't become a vigilante.
See something? Say something.
Well, I not only say something, do something, but do something that you would feel honorable in doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's about all. That's all I have.
Yeah, for this episode, we're good.
All right, so like, subscribe, and comment. Off to the next.